After the fashion industry took off in the mid-1900s, many different brands began seeing success. However, only a few of them were able to maintain relevance throughout the decades. Among those was Polo Ralph Lauren. Polo is a pseudo-luxury fashion brand that delivers high-quality clothing for both men and women, and is worth upwards of $7.5 billion. But how did Ralph Lauren rise to popularity, and who started it to begin with? In this video, we are going to explore the history of Ralph Lauren. Be sure to like and subscribe for more business stories like this. Ralph Lauren was born on October 14, 1939, in New York City to Frank Lifshitz and Frida Kotler. Lauren's parents were Jewish immigrants, and after leaving Belarus for the US, found it difficult to make very much money. His father, Frank Lifshitz, painted houses to provide for his family. All this meant that young Lauren didn't grow up with the luxury his brand is associated with, and he spent much of his time outside playing sports with his friends. After completing high school, Lauren decided to work in sales for a Thai company by day and take business classes at night at City College. Now, he'd had a few options available to him. Most of his friends went down the education route and chose to become teachers. And while Lauren loved taking care of kids, being a teacher didn't appeal to him very much. So he continued working during the day and studying at night. Lauren had an appreciation for style and fashion, so while he was working, he started designing his own neckwear. This led to him dropping out of college, and in 1967, he was able to transform his passion into a business. He began selling a special line of ties under the name Polo. These neckties were unique at the time for the classy English aristocrat look that they embodied and were handmade from premium fabrics. Looking back, he thought of it all as being a dead industry, since it was mostly full of old men. So with this new line of ties and his personality, he brought more vibrance back into the industry. The success of this inspired Lauren to expand the business. And in 1968, he released his first men's collection, which saw a host of distinctive suits enter the fashion market. But he needed a more efficient base of operations. He'd been doing his work out of a small room in the Empire State Building, but in 1970 moved his business into Bloomingdale's, a store entirely devoted to his product. This was a massive step for Ralph Lauren and Polo, as it solidified their presence in Manhattan. The problem was that if he wanted to blow up his fashion business, he'd need to go where it could be most successful. So in 1971, he opened his first standalone store on Beverly Hills Rodeo Drive, in the very opposite corner of the US. And the move to California proved to be a profitable one, as Ralph Lauren could now participate in the glamour of Hollywood media. By the 1970s, Hollywood had already been around for over 60 years, with its first film being released in 1908. Still, actors and actresses alike were flocking to the state to launch their careers, and Lauren saw this as a perfect opportunity to grow his brand. In 1972, Lauren released his first mesh sports shirt, which would eventually become his signature piece. Much of the releases before this were dress clothes, so they didn't have that identifying logo on them for display. But this new shirt became classically known for it. The Polo logo was designed by René Lacoste, the founder of a comparably successful brand, Lacoste. The image illustrates a polo player sitting atop a horse in mid-play. Polo itself has often been hailed as the sport of kings, or a gentleman's sport, very much associated with high society, the exact thing Ralph Lauren was trying to emulate. He wanted his brand to be known for its prestige and high-quality outerwear. The success of his new products and growing name allowed Lauren to dress the actors starring in the 1974 film The Great Gatsby with Polo's clothing. The film itself was a hit and led many viewers to Polo's doorstep, looking to represent the Ralph Lauren style, which didn't end with this film. A few years later, Ralph Lauren gained even more attention when he dressed Woody Allen and Diane Keaton in the 1977 film Annie Hall. This was an Oscar-winning film and skyrocketed Polo to even greater heights. All in all, the 1970s saw significant growth for Ralph Lauren and his brand, and he decided it was time to make his presence global. In 1981, he opened his first Polo store outside the US, located at New Bond Street in London. Tapping into the European market only invited more competition, as well-known brands like Chanel, Burberry, and Hermes had already staked their claim. However, unlike these brands, Ralph Lauren was able to appeal to a wider range of people, since the collections weren't solely considered luxury. And his focus on creating highly sustainable, premium clothing garnered him love from all around. Over the next couple of decades, Lauren continued to expand, releasing Polo Western, Ralph Lauren Home, and his Santa Fe and Western collections. He also created children's lines and began selling jeans. As the world was ushered into the digital age, Polo.com became a staple for his business. He won awards, became the official outfitter of both Wimbledon and the U.S. national soccer team, and was even presented with the key to the city of New York by Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Each move he made continued to increase his appeal to different demographics. After almost 50 years of spearheading his company's growth, Ralph Lauren officially stepped down as CEO. He did retain involvement, though, as an executive chairman and chief creative officer, and he kept the business in the family by appointing his son, David Lauren, as the chief branding and innovation officer. Today, Polo Ralph Lauren continues to thrive under the Ralph Lauren Corporation, being one of several brands under its belt. And it's funny to think how it all started with one college dropout who had a vision for something greater. A man who I think, and I'm sure you'd agree, changed the world of fashion. But that's just my take. Let me know what you think in the comments below and what brand you'd like to see covered next.